We will now look at the characteristics that we analyze when performing an analysis for a hair color service. This is what tells you what does the client have. So first we're going to talk about texture. Texture is how thick or thin a strand of hair is. It is not how much hair a person has. It is just somebody can have a lot of very fine or thin hair or very little coarse textured hair. So when you have a fine textured hair, your melanin, which are the dots that you see on the screen, um, the melanin is going to be very, very close together. What this does is it allows the hair color to process even faster. If you're lightening, it removes the melanin quicker. If you're darkening, it's faster to fill in all the gaps. Medium textured hair is what most people have. So there's an average amount of space. Whenever hair color says it takes 30 minutes to process, that's how long it'll take to process medium textured hair. Coarse hair, on the other hand, has a lot of space between the melanin. This, when going darker, it will take a little bit longer to fill in the empty space between the melanin. When lightening, it also takes a little bit longer because the diameter of the strand is a little bit thicker. Think of it as if you went to play paintball. If you had 10 people in your restroom and you started shooting that paintball gun, you would get paint on them a lot quicker in that small room versus going to your gym at your school. If everybody spreads out, those 10 people, in order for you to get them and get some color on them, it would take you a lot longer. That's how you can think of the timing and how long it takes, how much longer it takes for coarser hair than it does for fine hair. Again, density is not how thick or thin each strand of hair is, but how many strands of hair are on the head. Porosity is the hair's ability to absorb moisture. This is related to the condition of the cuticle. If your cuticle is completely open, it's very porous. If your cuticle is closed, we call it resistant hair. If the cuticle is open, the color is going to penetrate into our cortex a little bit faster so we can make a time adjustment. If your cuticle is open and you put a hair color that has a blue or a green or even a violet base in it, it's going to really, really absorb those ashy tones very quick. Could create a situation for color correction if you're not careful with the timing and the formulation. Another thing that it does is at times when somebody has colored their hair, usually blonde, and they put red on top of the blonde because they don't want to be blonde anymore, instead of getting a bright red result, usually it'll get a washed out red result. It's for several reasons, but one of the reasons is because the hair is porous. Porous hair usually rejects warm colors. Your warm colors are yellow, orange, and red. Same thing with a drab or the ashy tones. If you have a client that has very porous hair and you put a color on their hair that has either a blue, a green, or even a violet base, it's going to absorb it very, very, very quickly and can make your color results uneven. So the different types of porosity are low porosity, which is resistant hair. This type of hair will take a little bit longer or a stronger formulation in order to penetrate into the cortex. Your average porosity has slightly raised cuticle. It's not completely open, it's just slightly raised. So the processing time will be average, whatever the manufacturer's directions tell you. High porosity or overly porous hair has a completely raised cuticle. The process will be super quick, and again, it might reject warmth or over or attract drab colors. So how do we test for porosity? So here's a test that you can do. What you do is you take the hair strand, one hair, okay? You hold it at the ends, and then you're going to run your fingers from the ends to the scalp. Whatever areas you feel that are rough, that means that the cuticle is open. If it feels smooth, that means that you have either average or low porosity. However, people can have more than one porosity. Usually people with extra long hair will have the ends of their hair a little bit porous or overly porous depending on the hair history, and toward the scalp it'll usually have average or resistant porosity. So that's how you test. This is how we find out what the client has. So we've been talking a lot about melanin in the hair. Melanin is the pigment, the natural pigment that gives our hair its color. Earlier, I told you that the degree of lightness or darkness in the hair is determined by either the type of melanin or the amount of melanin that the client has. What do I mean by type of melanin? There's two types. We have eumelanin, which gives our hair its black and brown color. We also have pheomelanin, which gives our hair the blondes and the reds. Most people have mixed melanin, which is a ratio of eumelanin plus pheomelanin. Everybody in the world has a unique combination, a unique hair color. That's why it's so hard to match somebody's natural hair color to the exact level and tone. So most people have mixed melanin. A little trick that you can use to remember which one's which is Princess Fiona has red hair, correct? So pheomelanin for Fiona gives you red color. The other one just gives you black and brown. Just a little trick.